Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley.
Всем привет! Сегодня поиграем в игрушку под названием The Stanley Parable. Я хз, что это такое, я вообще первый раз вижу, она старенькая, конечно, но я не знаю, о чем она. Меня тут попросили какое-то время выставить, я пока заходил 2 раза выставил. Оно у меня же тут начало проверять. Мол, что-то я правильно, то ли неправильно выставляю, то ли правильно, я вообще хз, что это такое. Так что будем смотреть, да. Окей, погнали, начать игру. Вроде озвучка на русском. Нажмите, что... О, не на русском.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Что это? Это где он вообще находился?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ага, так, мы уже начали. Подождите, тут должна быть вроде русская озвучка, не? Не было? Внешний вид, язык русский. Взять игру заново. Ну ладно. Так. Окей. То есть мы вышли. Ага. Я так понял, тут сидел, клацал, и тут ему однажды никто указания ему не прислал, и он вышел из офиса. А это не такой офис, как показали только что.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Что это за офис такой? Непонятный. Удачи в прохождении. Спасибо. Здорово, как жизнь? Нормально. А у тебя как? Так. Выглядит все очень стрёмно, если честно. Это какой-то точно уже бэкрумс. Пошел опять очередной. Но мы идем. Какие-то мы маленькие, по-моему, двери по сравнению с нами вообще. Слишком большие.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
В левую? А если я в правую пойду?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Это можно проверять, закрытые двери или нет. И стоп, я пошел не в левую, я пошел в правую.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Это типа это комната отдыха такая?
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Окей.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Давайте не будем слушаться. Мне надо сюда, а я не буду слушаться. Я пойду сюда. Здрасте.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Передайте привет Бразилии. Привет Бразилии? А? Какого хрена? Почему? Это что за... Не, это, конечно, офис ни хера себе. Тут с ангаром офис уже. Мне сюда?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Я не хочу здесь.
Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
О ком ты говоришь? Что это за темная дверь?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Я не буду брать трубку. Нет. Я не буду никому доверять. Я не возьму.
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited once.
Я вырубил телефон.
Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Да.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that?
А вот легко.
Actually, chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible?
Откуда ты знаешь, что я буду делать? Где ты?
Supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
В смысле останавливаю игру?
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Practice.
Excellent.
But
Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative
что за
contradiction.
баги?
But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Так. Exit, exit, exit. Я понял, то есть тут либо игра супер нелинейная, тут с выборами, и мы поэтому делаем такие выборы, то есть она типа реиграбельна, пройти ее заново, и тут будет что-то по-другому. Либо это вся такая игра, я пока хз. Может, я так и должен был делать, теперь когда мы знаем, что выборы. Во, я мог еще с платформы спрыгнуть, и игра тоже закончилась, но я не прыгал пока с платформы. То есть я понял, тут каждый шаг продуман и, в принципе, допустим. Я мог делать что угодно, это тоже бы продумано было. Это не головоломка, я думал, что это головоломка, но... No. Так, окей, что он нам сказал делать? Я еще раз проверю, тут нету, да? Тут ж не было озвучки. Общий язык русский. Ладно. Окей. Что нам скажут делать? Я должен был идти в ту комнату, но я пошел в эту. Я должен был идти налево, пошел в правую. Я должен был взять телефон, но я вырубил телефон. Я уже типа...
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Возвращайся к той двери. Нет, я сейчас выйду и зайду обратно в эту дверь, походу. А ну-ка. Вот, я вышел.
Remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley.
Как вел себя Стэнли.
That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Нет, я войду в правую.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
А что это за... Я игру начинаю ломать. Что это с вещами происходит? Какого... Что это? Не, окей. Окей, давайте еще одну попытку. Давай. Дубль. Стоп. Я вышел из этой двери. Давайте опять зайдем в правую. Не, все, теперь мне точно заставляют идти в левую. Я не хочу в левую. Какой-то код, его запоминать не надо. Ну ладно. Ну давай. Ладно, окей, идемте в левую. Капец, мы... Ну, вот теперь мы его послушаемся, это точно. Ну блин. Ну ладно.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know.
Может, заново начать просто?
What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down.
Ну, вырубай его, давай.
I have to.
Давай.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, My story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Нет, я зайду в правую. Я опять зайду в правую. Почему?
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Это уже начинается какая-то жесткая жесть.
He entered the door on his left.
Я сейчас 3-й раз пойду сюда, в правую. Ты крикнешь «No!»
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
Он сломал игру, теперь он точно придется в левую пойти. Я, конечно, могу, там какая-то ачивка 100% есть, что я должен пойти в эту правую дверь раз 100, и тогда он тупо взорвется, да? Давайте, окей, пойдемте в левую. Ладно, окей, все, идемте в левую теперь. Мы же уже кучу раз зашли в эту левую. В правую, точнее. Игра сломалась, интересно? О, игра не сломана.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Или сломана.
He might find an answer there.
Странно. Тут... Ну окей.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Блин, я думал, вниз надо будет идти. Я уже хотел в другую, ну окей, нам надо идти туда, к... О май гад. Двери, так понял, тут не открываются. Тут чисто у нас выбор направо и налево. Куда нам? Сюда? Это босс-офис? Реально босс-офис.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
115. Один, 5.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Ну, 115. 115. Или я должен какую-то...
Sorry, is there a problem?
Да, я не могу разговаривать.
You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story.
Да я не могу разговаривать. Мой персонаж не говорит, или я должен говорить, или как в фазмофобии надо нажимать кнопку. Какую кнопку мне нажимать? Управление. Прыжок влево. Вот действие, присесть, автоходьба. Нет, тут ничего нет. Е? 115.
Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello?
What the?
Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
What? Конец?
You walk through the door.
Все?
Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
Так, давайте еще раз попробуем. Вот смотрите, сейчас он меня опять заставит выставить время. Время у нас 3:04. Так, окей, ползунок. Да, вот сюда, допустим. Чё? Это что такое? Да хватит! Пока меню не поменяется, что? Что? Какое из двух этих выдуманных слов? О, кубинка скрумтуш. Скрумтуш. А хватит этих... да, я смотрел, у меня там было 13:05 вроде. Ой, 13:15. Сейчас... Что? Сейчас действительно столько? Что? Сколько? Я что сказал, это слух? Он меня услышал? Что происходит? Да, я скрываю. Сейчас было стрёмно. Я думал, что какой-то хоррор уже начинается. Режим низкой... Что? Это что такое? Автоходьба, данные игрока. Ну вот аудио, тут нету. Ну окей, ладно. Рассказчик. Ну пофиг. Начать игру. А она тут где-то записывается концовки или нет? Мне, в принципе, нравится, как он на английском базарит. Так что нормально.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Есть.
Stanley worked for a company in a
нажмите, чтобы пропустить. Все, мы это видели. Здрасте. Я не хочу его слушать все еще. Я хочу...
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Здесь?
Stanley went around touching every thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Я не хочу, я хочу идти в это.
Correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Давайте упадем вообще, давайте упадем с этой платформы, потому что она долго. Пока мы доедем до ней, пока что-то произойдет. Выходим, не, выходим. Да-да-да, поскорее хотел попасть в переговорную. Слева, но мы игнорим ее или не игнорим? Игнорим ее.
Stanley was so bad at following
Да.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired.
Что у нас еще есть? Оп.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
О, можно туда
I'm
пройти.
not your enemy, really.
Стоп, или...
I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in
Во-во,
someone
можно
else
туда
is
вообще пройти.
difficult.
Там какая-то еще...
The fact is
Можно
that the
упасть, это
story
будет
has
какая-то
been
концовка.
about
Может, туда
nothing
у нас
but
привезет.
you
А ну-ка,
all
давай,
this
пойдем.
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
Давай.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Нифига. В синюю заходим.
Ah, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Нет, я не зайду в красную, я зайду в синюю дверь. И все, я иду
I still
вперед.
don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road
Да,
to
да.
the chosen world? Don't let me stop you.
Что в синей двери было?
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer
Какого?
textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
Что там?
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Мне опять его слушать? What the f... Блин, тут столько вариантов. Ну давайте зайдем сюда, она интереснее. Вот эта дверь интереснее, чем те.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version.
Да, мне
Would you say that
нравится.
the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Ну как я оценю себя? Давайте 4.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Что? О! Сюда Это что, планшет? Нет, это стена. Это кто? Это спидранеры? А, это сколько... А, это типа я на самом последнем месте? How long does you... Что it takes... ни хрена! Сколько? Это понял, это статистика всей игры. Понятно. Ну окей, давайте... Мы опять сюда зайдем?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors?
Это была таблица лидеров, понял.
Honest answers,
Понял. Тогда все понятно. Да, давайте на 5, окей.
Hey, I
Здрасте.
nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You
Что?
wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Какая игра?
Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right. and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
Какая нахрен игра, которую ты делал, чтобы я и позвал мне проверить демо-версию этой игры? Что это за игра вообще? Что ты делаешь? Рассказчик, автор? Кто ты? Верни меня обратно в ту игру, мне та игра больше нравилась. Где я?
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
Это что за Fallout? Это что за Far Cry?
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Где я? Это Far Cry.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Давай открой дверь. Спасибо. Туда пройти, туда.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wanted
Читеры, меня заперли.
That thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we are.
Что происходит?
We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Как выйти отсюда? Надо идти дальше сейчас.
Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Куда смотреть? Меня тэпнуть.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
Это Rocket League?
Just a nice big box for you to run around.
Rocket League?
There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Это Rocket League. Я не забыл, только я медленный в этой версии.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here?
Стоп, это в натуре Rocket League, вон баннер
Lots
игры.
of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball?
Где мяч?
Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
What the f... О, скоростуха подъехала. Сейчас мы забьем мяч. Давай.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount... Hold on. What are you doing? Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Ура, он заткнулся наконец-то. Господи, что мы нам тут делать? Мы еще в каких-то... Ой-ой-ой, мы вообще за карту, за игру выпали. За зону выпали, еще куда-то падаем. Да это страшнее, чем Backrooms или чем Classrooms тот. Здесь можно вообще за карту выпасть и там, не знаю, за стены еще заползти. Это ни хера не видно теперь. Это хоррор? Тут тупик. Теперь это хоррор. Тут тупик. Ну, блин, куда мне идти? Я ж оттуда упал, да, вроде? Или сюда я приплыл? Ну, окей, давайте сюда придем. О, отлично. Вау. Компьютеры-то работают. Туда зайти нельзя, походу. Что здесь? Выход? Здрасте. Стоп, тут тупик? Зачем я сюда пришел? Тут тупик? Ну и что это? Вот там, по-моему... Нет, там ничего нет. Какого?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
Рассказчик тут злой, походу. Что ты ждешь? Все, ты ж меня запер, я больше не могу двигаться. О, нет, это еще не конец.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
А так, кстати, это уже концовка была. Это что было? Лол. Там меня в титры пустили, здесь не пустили. Это что значит?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door.
Окей, давайте в левую пойдем. Давайте, все, давайте будем слушать. Делать то, что он нам говорит. Насколько... Да, окей, никого не оказалось тут. Я должен пойти наверх, и начальник... А, стоп!
Hoping he might find an answer to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Во, а там было закрыто. Окей, давайте вниз пойдем теперь. А там было закрыто. Прикол? О. Я думал, секретка. Здрасте. В смысле не нашелся? Ага. Я решил пойти в парковку. Да, он меня уволит, я не хочу к нему идти. Надо свалить отсюда.
All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him?
Да, это обращал внимание,
все. And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Да, и тут дверь.
Simply repeating. No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange, this can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue.
Какой вывод?
He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation.
Все, я застрял, как всегда. Но по правилам античембера мы должны идти назад.
He wasn't crazy after all.
Не работает. Печаль.
I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying, and began to gently float above the ground.
Ну давай, меня сейчас он меня сейчас меня
Then he
тэпнет.
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical
Я
star,
летать начал.
and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Да, это надо было еще в самом начале задать такой вопрос себе.
Being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep...
Да хватит разговаривать, боже!
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was...
Все, выпустите меня, мне плохо.
After all, he knew for certain...
Мой мозг сейчас не выдержит этого всего. Отказывается в это играть.
See him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Я больше не пойду в эту комнату, мне там, где вниз по лестнице, мне она не понравилась.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Нифига. Не сработало.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Жесть.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Что? Какая Мариэлла?
Woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am safe. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Здесь явно что-то не то в этой игре. По-моему, здесь нету правильного пути. Ну окей, к начальнику был идти правильный путь, но я сомневаюсь в этом. Там тоже какая-то фигня должна произойти. Вверх по лестнице к боссу. Да не, она вон стоит. Никто она не убежала. А все, Стэнли, все? Обнулили его? Лол еще. Концовка разблокируется или нет? Жесть. Короче, ГГ, да. ГГ просто... Это не ГГ, это призрак. Под стол можно залезть? Вон еще какие-то кнопки. Ну окей. В принципе, тут еще можно играть долго. Но мы на этом закончим. Всем спасибо, что смотрели. Всем ББ.